You are listening to Charting Wealth's comprehensive review and forecast for the week beginning Monday, the 30th of October, 2017. We see everything up for the day on Friday. The NASDAQ 100 blowing it out, up almost 3% after incredible earnings reports. We'll talk about that shortly. The S&P 500 up 0.81%, TLT up 0.64%, gold up 0.47%. What's going on? Well, let's look at the charts. They will tell us. We see that we're going into completed the 9th week of strong up movement in the S&P 500. Of course, we had our weekly vertical crossover occur back on Friday, the 29th of September. Things have continued to boom up. For the last 4 weeks running, we have been blowing it out through and above even the Bollinger Bands. We continue to see the derivative oscillator increase in its upward momentum and the price percent oscillator move up on that weekly chart strongly. What do we see going on the 2-day chart? It's lost some of its luster, gained a little bit over the course of the first day of the latest 2-day candle. That will end on Monday. Had a down 2 days on the 2-day candle ending on the 26th, but things are still above the red signal line on the price percent oscillator, and we have a green candle for the first day of the latest 2-day candle. Derivative oscillator, however, has lost a lot of its energy. Keep an eye on things when it comes to the S&P 500. What do we see going on the 4-hour chart? Well, of course, it has now, at the end of the day, crossed over, going back up after a pullback. What does that mean? Well, check out things about 10:30 on Monday morning. You may have a jumping in point. Now, again, you never know how everything's going to shake out with such a big up market this last Friday, particularly with the NASDAQ blowing it out. Could be a bit of a pullback with some profit taking, but just keep an eye on things. See how that 4-hour chart looks after idiot hour is over on Monday morning. Now, let's go back to the weekly chart. Talk about the big news for the day after all those incredible earnings with some of the big movers, the big volume in the NASDAQ 100. We see that the derivative oscillator has popped up and we have a weekly vertical crossover at the end of the week. We have a long wick about the same size as the candle. And again, it's only the first day. Well, I'm sorry. This is where we ended the week. We're going to talk about the 2-day chart here in just a moment, but lots of upward momentum, closed above the Bollinger Band. And again, it was that big day on Friday that saved that and pulled over the NASDAQ 100. Now, if we look at the 2-day chart, what do we see going on? Of course, it was crossing over, going down, and then boom, it flipped right over after a down 2 days on the 26th and the first day of the latest 2-day candle, bounded up all the way above the Bollinger Band, even higher, and it pulled back some on that. As we look at the 4-hour chart, look at what you see here, a huge candle in the morning. After lackluster down movement for many, many days since we had that 2-day crossover going down in the afternoon on the 18th of October, and then bam, 2 huge green candles moving up. So we do have a weekly vertical crossover on the cues. Keep an eye on things after the market settles out Monday around 10:30. Look at where your 4-hour chart is. You might just check out the 30-minute chart. You don't want to buy if there's a lot of profit taking and things are really slamming down. So keep an eye, but we do have a weekly vertical crossover on the cues. Now, let's move back to our weekly chart. 2 more to go through. We have the 20-year bond fund up 0.64% for the day. We see that the weekly vertical crossover occurred back on the 29th of September. We had down movement the following week, and then the 2 weeks after that, the week ending on the 13th of October and the 20th of October, sideways sliding, and then the last week down, a little bit of a recovery on Friday, but didn't make up for a down week. Movement is below the 2-day and the weekly trend line. Not Bollinger Band. The price percent oscillator continuing to trundle down, as is the derivative oscillator. So we take a look at that 2-day chart. What do we see? Well, of course, it's continuing to move down. It did pair back a little bit with the first day of the latest 2-day candle. Again, that'll finish up on Monday. Bit of a green candle so far, but We don't call it until it's complete, and that won't happen until Monday. What do we see on the 4-hour chart? Well, it is moving up with the price movement up over the last day on Friday. So again, we'll continue to keep our eye on things. If you were in a down move on the TLT, then do very much keep an eye on that 4-hour chart. Hasn't crossed over going up yet. It could move back in the down direction on Monday, so just watch it. Watch that 4-hour chart sharply. Remember, we have confirmed down moves on the weekly and on the 2-day, so you can sure be in TLT for a down play going short on it, either in an inverse fund or with puts. We'll go now to our last chart. Take a look at the weekly. Gold up about 0.5% for the day. Weekly chart still confirmed. Down move rather strong. We saw the price percent oscillator really hack over after a bit of an up day, a green spinning top on the week of the ending on the 13th, Friday the 13th of October. And then with the following week ending the 20th and then the 27th of October, we've seen strong down moves, that price percent oscillator really cutting over, going down, and the derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. It's going on that 2-day chart. It is continuing to move down, all movement well below the 2-day chart. And we see that the 2-day chart's lost a little bit of its downward energy after the up day on Friday. Derivative oscillators continuing to gain downward momentum. Lastly, if we look at this 4-hour chart, what do we see? We see down movement in the morning, a bit of a recovery in the afternoon. But again, that 4-hour, the prescient chart as we call it, the total trading chart, still moving down, although we do see it hitting lows right around the same point, right around 120 or so, 120, 37 something. If we go back into early October, we can see the same bottom, so keep your eye on things. Remember what happened back on the 6th of October when things bounded off that 120.50 or so line and moved up. Keep an eye on the prize. Things rotate back over going up on that 4-hour chart. Consider pulling that down play on gold. Folks, that's where we are as we end the day on Friday, as we go into the new week. Lots of good training that we've posted lately on the website. If you haven't been there lately, chartingwealth.com, you want all the materials we have to share with you. Everything's available. We love to hear from you. Write us CW at chartingwealth.com and do subscribe to the daily market review that includes this weekly review and forecast. And again, for those tuning in late, do not forget we have a weekly vertical crossover going up on the Qs. God bless, my friends. All the best from the entire team here at Charting Wealth World Headquarters. God bless. Hope that you have or have had a wonderful weekend.